it's Joel again, and the continuing saga of Blue Boy, my relic blue 1961 style jazz bass, continues. The continuing saga continues, says the Department of Redundancy Department. Okay, so what we're going to do today, here's Blue Boy as it exists right now. Now, it is in fact now gotten to be rather nice. It has now a heavier body. It still has that very light neck with the lightweight, ultralight hip shot tuners on it. You can see it there. There you go. There you go. Even though that's not cosmetically correct from the back, it looks fine from the front, and it makes the bass very well balanced, so I'm very reticent to do anything with that. The continuing tweaking, there's always this dilemma because you wonder how far you can push it. You want to get it better, you want to do something more. I want to have a specific idea in mind for the look and sound of this bass, and how close can I get to that, and can I hopefully discover something even better. Where we're at this point is it has the EMG passive Geezer Butler pickups with the EMG electronics behind this plate. All the metal on it is nicely relicked, as you can see there. There you go. And I've now swapped out the strings. I had the Labella, what do they call these lightweight things? The low tension flats, which feel great, but they're very dead, and very dead works for certain uses, very, like 60s vintage, 50s, 60s vintage music, like that original dead, no sustain kind of a sound without much high end. But it really was kind of lacking on this. I got more bottom by swapping the body out, but I still wanted some range in it. So instead what I did is I put on a used set of Labella, they call them hard rock and, no, what do they call them? Labella, the deep, sorry about that. The world's greatest flat ones. Not the hard rock and steel, but the, yeah, hold on. I want to get this right, because I've got some in the other room in the shop. These things, deep talking bass, Labella deep talking bass, probably the finest flat strings that exist ever. Phil Chen apparently has the same set on one of his basses for like 30 or 40 years or something, and they still sound and feel great. These are a set that I've had on a couple different basses for years. They've come and gone. I put them now on this set. I even broke the low E and had to find an even older one that was a shorter scale. You can see that it's the winding is actually on the nut. I don't know if you can see that, but it's barely there. And they turned out to really improve everything, get me more high end. I was able to play with the action, the intonation, to the point where now we're great, they sound great, everything's flat, except that that's even with the high end turned down. This is full, this is half. Not quite as thumpy as the low tension flats, which is one of the great things about the low tension flats, the thumpiness. But it's got everything else. It's got some thump. But it still has some high end, so there's definition. And I can take that down. Too much. There you go. So anyway, plays great, feels great, action's good, neck is great, everything. Okay, what can be better? Well, because I've been working on this and I was trying other sets of pickups, I threw together a bass with a lightweight ash body that I've had kicking around for quite a while. It's kind of a strange thing. I bought these 3 unfinished bodies from a builder at one point, and I never assembled this one. This is an ash body, but it's light. It's like a little over 3 pounds. And I've gone through trying to make lightweight basses and always gave up on the bottom end. But you know what? With a set of custom shop Fender 60s vintage pickups, run flat with, what are these? Nickel wound, the Labella, they call them the RX, but they're basically just a good nickel wound round wound pickup. Even better, even more bottom end than this. Now this neck is not great. It's a crappy neck that I haven't really worked on much, and I will swap it out for something else. But the bottom and the top, I mean, it's so bright. They even cut it. When I cut that even in half, or more than half, still has more high end than Blue Boy, but it's also round wound string. I just felt that these pickups were a little more, again, it's probably the body, but here's what I want to find out. What I'm going to do, I want Blue Boy to have the 1961 concentric 2-pot setup, not these 3 pots, like the later jazz basses from 63 onwards. So I'm going to swap out these pickups with the EMGs that are on Blue Boy. So it's going to have these Fender vintage, they're probably the vintage custom shop Fender passive pickups with this. I've already relicked it. So this control plate with the concentric volume and tone for each pickup on each separate pot. This is the electronics are left over from a, I think it was a Squier Jaguar bass that I took apart once and used other things for. But so I had the pots for that already. So I'm going to swap out the pickups and the electronics on these 2 basses, and then see what that does, how that changes the tone. What this will really do is compare the tone of the EMG Geezer Butler, which are the very nice thing about those is that they're noiseless. So even if I'm only using one on the Jazz, it's quiet. But this will be, I'll put the Fenders on Blue Boy now. It'll require a bit of work and soldering and stuff, and I will try to document that. And we'll see what the difference is. I have a feeling it's going to give me a little bit more. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see what happens, shall we? nice thing about the EMGs is there's very little soldering involved. It's all just attaching these little bits to each other. So I'm going to keep the entire control panel intact. Only have to unscrew or unsolder where I have the ground wire. Otherwise these will drop into the other one. The other bass, the light yellow body is it's like a 2010 American Deluxe Jazz Bass spec. It's a very odd shape. It's a little smaller. The pick guard's a little smaller. See, this is the pick guard versus a standard one. But I think eyeing it, I've gone ahead and purchased another pick guard that's a standard one, and I think I can just trim it right like that and like that, so that I can still have this this style pick guard, because Fender never made a reddish tortoise pick guard for the American standard basses. You have to get them custom made. They can be very expensive, and not dealing with that. So I'm going to do that myself with that other bass. But with these pickups, the EMG, even though they're passive, because they are noiseless, it'll be very similar to the Deluxe Jazz, and I could actually add a preamp to it if I wanted to, because it's all set up for that. I'm going to keep all of those parts in this little box here so I don't get them mixed up. And so all the EMG pickups and controls, all of that is in here. And I will save that to put back on the yellow bass. And let's see. Now I will. Now that I had a set of these original style shields from Fender underneath the foam, so I'm going to continue using those here. The more shielding, the better. And let's see. Maybe I'll get lucky. I don't have to take off the pick guard to get all the wiring through. That would be nice. Nice. This concentric plate wiring is a little bit of a mystery to me. I think I've only done one with this wiring before, with the concentric pots. I got a repair. I can see that already there's a ground thing on here that's off. I'm going to put more solder on the back of each one so that I can ground it to every required wire. There's some there. Okay, so that seems to be wired complete. Now let's see if it works. Okay, that's a little not very tight. Tighten that up a little bit. Much better. I hear a buzz. That's the volume for the rear. There's the tone, I think. Yeah, that's the tone, because there it is all the way down, all the way up. There's the tone all the way down. Thing is, this should be quiet, but let's see. We'll adjust these knobs, screw this down, and try it again. Okay, so let's string this puppy up and see how it barks. Take the volumes down. These poor labellas are getting all beat up. Expensive strings to kind of beat up, taking on and off bases constantly, but whatever.